I wonder what day it is. Ah! The December games list is supposed to come out tomorrow! Ah! It happened again?
But despite their best efforts, the video still came out one day late because Felix and Xeon were far too busy making this skit. If only they had a third member to help them.
So kicking off this list on the 1st of December is a game that was critically acclaimed. I think it came out on PC maybe earlier this year or late last year, but it's called Inscryption. Have you heard of this game at all, Felix?
I had not heard about it before, but I must say, I think there's a good reason, because I don't like scary games, and this looks really scary.
Dude, you're totally right. So this is a deck building card game slash like escape room simulator or something, but I guess the story goes like you're in this cabin for some reason. I'm not sure if you're there with your friends or if you go up there alone for some stupid reason. I don't know what, but it sounds like the game takes a lot of like really crazy twists and turns, and I think it's
a game you don't want to know anything about.
Exactly, yeah, which is like a big reason why I've kind of stayed away from researching it a lot. You know, I've heard some rumblings about it online, but this feels kind of like the game, like if you see a bit of gameplay and you like what you see and you like the style and you like some weird like meta twists that are going to like get in your head and you're not going to stop thinking about it for a few days, this seems like the kind of game for you then, I would say. Beyond that, I don't really know much more about it, and that is fine by me.
The next day, we have the Outbound Ghost, and Sion. Tell me a bit about this game.
Yeah, this game looks so cool too. This was also one that released on PC like earlier this year, but this is a game that's been in development for a few years now. I believe this is being made by one guy. He's been working on this for quite a while, and it's a very like cute and very like well-crafted Paper Mario style RPG. And the cool thing with it that I think a lot of people will care about when I say Paper Mario is that not only does it like look like a Paper Mario game where all of the characters are made of paper and the environment is 3D and you can kind of roam around and explore and make friends. The battle system is turn-based. It very faithfully draws like inspiration from the first couple Paper Mario games. So if you played those and really enjoyed those, or you played recent Paper Mario games and didn't really jive with the combat, because the combat like really strays in Color Splash and Origami King. It's very different.
It is.
Yeah, right. Like I played Bug Fables on Switch, beginning to end, and loved that game. I never finished the side quests, but this is definitely one that like I've had my eyes on for a while, and I just can't wait to play. So I'm glad it's coming to Switch now. On December 1st?
December 1st.
Gosh, that's probably already happened. And then on December 2nd, we're actually getting another game that kind of channels some classic Nintendo vibes, don't we?
Yeah, it's Super Kiwi 64. So this is a game that's embracing that Nintendo 64 visual art style. It's created by Marcus, who also made the Tori series and Macbeth 64. Macbeth 64, I think, looks the closest to this. So if you've played that game, it's by the same creator, and it looks to be a bit bigger levels than that game. And in this game, you play as a Kiwi. You can glide, you can swim, you can climb walls, and there's 8 worlds to run around in. This is a collectathon, and when I'm seeing this game, I think of Banjo-Kazooie. Alex is probably feasting right now, just cheering over in the corner.
And Felix, I just want to point out that when I Google the word Kiwi, all I find is fruit. But that's not what you play as, right? For anybody who's actually watching the video, a Kiwi is like a bird, I guess, with like a long...
I'm very sorry I didn't specify that, because I had actually played another game with Kiwis, which is a co-op game. We played it on the PlayStation, but it's also on the Switch. So I just thought, oh, Kiwi, I just played a game with a Kiwi. Everyone knows what that is. But no, that is a super adorable bird. But the game is only $3, and it's releasing December 2nd. But coming up, it's not a game, it's more of an extension of a game, and it's Mario Kart Deluxe Booster Course Wave, which is coming December 7th. Are you excited about this, Sion?
I think so. I mean, the past booster course like waves haven't really made me that excited, but there's a few tracks in this one that I am incredibly excited to play. Like Maple Treeway, I did actually play quite a bit of the Wii game back in the day, and even though I don't have fond memories of it, I feel like once I race on this like new track again, memories will just like flood my brain upon impact. But what about you? Because we already know what all the tracks are going to be for this new wave, right?
Sion, I'm so excited for this. Like, I was actually really impressed. Well, maybe not with the first wave, but wave 2 really impressed me, and it just looks to keep getting better and better. So it's one of my most exciting things coming out this month. We have tons of great tracks coming out. We have Maple Treeway, that was one of my most requested tracks. We have Boo Lake, Rock Mountain, and a fan favorite, Rainbow Road, for the 3DS.
And I don't know about you, I've never played the 3DS version of Rainbow Road, so I didn't even know that there was another special Rainbow Road.
I have actually played it. It's one of the few Mario Karts I've actually played, because my friend had a 3DS and I tried it at his home when I was a little kid, and that track slaps. You're racing on planets, then on a moon it goes crazy. It's the kind of course that has one big lap, like Big Blue and Warrior Mountain. I feel like those tracks really are super epic, and I can't wait to race around it December 7th.
And then the day after, if Mario Kart is not your thing and you happen to like classic RPGs once again, there's a game called Chained Echoes coming out. And this game it doesn't look like it's doing anything necessarily groundbreaking and unique. Like, I don't think there's going to be anything in here that pulls you into the genre if you aren't already a fan of RPGs. But if you did grow up with Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1 RPGs, I want to say N64, but it basically didn't have any RPGs, so PS1 is the closest thing. I guess Game Boy Advance is another comparison too, but this game looks like it's kind of channeling RPGs from that era. It has a really detailed like pixel art style. The combat is turn-based and is very kind of straightforward and to the point, but it also looks really ambitious too. You can fly around in mechs at some point. There are overworld puzzles that kind of remind me of what you would see in something like Golden Sun on Game Boy Advance. The game is supposed to be really lengthy. On the eShop page, they claim that you can get 30 to 40 hours out of the game. And the biggest thing for me is in the key art of the game. You can actually see a character holding a Shiba Inu, like a Japanese dog, and I was like, no way, right? Yeah, I was like, no way. Is that character playable? And yes, Felix, you can play as
Can you play as the dog?
So you play as the character, but then I think the dog like fights for you. And it's just adorable.
If I can name it, I will name it Hachiko.
Yo! But yeah, if you're just looking for a good turn-based RPG, obviously we haven't played it yet, so we don't know, but I'm hopeful for this one.
But then the day after, we have a game, Samurai Maiden. I don't know a lot about this game. Tell me about it, Sion.
Yeah, so this comes out, Samurai Maiden comes out on December 8th. I have not played this before, but it has a 2D, 3D art style that kind of looks almost hand-drawn at times, like if you were to pause the game and look at it. And it's a hack-and-slash action game that it looks really flashy. You're playing as this girl who gets teleported to this other dimension. You have to fight zombies and skeletons, and which I guess are potentially the same thing. But you know, it looks fairly simple in ways, but I think sometimes that's all you need in a game. So there are other characters in the game that you'll like fight with as well, and I'm just gonna say that if you're a fan of like Senran Kagura, that series, you might be a fan of this game. Feel free to look up more details, but there's more to this game than meets the eye. But then the day after as well, on December 9th, it feels like we're just getting Switch game overload in December, by the way, Felix. I just need to throw that out there.
Yeah, people might not think that this is a heavy month, but we thought, this is just gonna be a nice and tidy month, but we have a lot of games coming out. It might not be big hitters like Breath of the Wild, but there's still some genuinely good stuff, like Dragon Quest Treasures.
Which actually, I'm glad you brought up Breath of the Wild, because it looks like Dragon Quest, the games traditionally are turn-based RPGs. I mean, they have an MMO as well, but for the most part, they stick to a formula. And this time, it actually looks a lot like they're taking cues from Breath of the Wild. It's an open-world, like, action-adventure game where you can roam around this massive land called Draconia, as these two different kids, Eric and Mia. They're treasure hunters, and they end up stumbling into this world of Draconia, and from what I've gathered, I don't really know why they're there, but you're in search of these 7 dragon stones, which just sounds like Dragon Balls to me. But the Dragon Quest games traditionally haven't missed the mark. There's another element to this game where you can recruit monsters to battle with you as well, and help you uncover treasure and just explore the world. And it turns out this game is actually being produced by the same person who produced the Dragon Quest Monsters games, which are all kind of Pokemon-inspired RPGs that came out on like the DS and the Game Boy Color back in the day, and even the 3DS in Japan. So if you were a fan of the Monsters games, this is basically the kind of like not a spiritual successor, but like the new version of the Monsters games in a way, or at least that was their intentions.
And if you want to try out this game, it's Switch exclusive.
That's right, yeah. And it feels like the Switch doesn't get as many exclusives as it could. And then on December 12th, we're getting a game called Wavetale.
Sion, this game looks absolutely incredible, at least from what I'm seeing in the trailers. The cel-shaded look, I can't get enough of that art style.
It looks so smooth. So you're playing as this girl traversing this kind of
Oceania.
Yeah, like everything is just covered in water, and there's like old like buildings and ruins kind of like sticking up out of the water, and you'll find islands and stuff, but you're kind of like surfing across them.
I would say it reminds me a lot of Wind Waker.
Yeah, it does have those, like, that inspiration, doesn't it? And do you think it, like, when you see the gameplay of this, though, it's so fast and fluid.
It just looks fun.
Does it remind you at all of, like, Spider-Man? Like, I know that was a PlayStation game, but just, it's so seamless. Like, I love the spins that the character does when they, like, jump in the air. It just, like you said, it just looks fun.
Now that you say it, I played Spider-Man here not that long ago, and I totally see what you mean. Like, the character even swings this staff around and you zoom to it, so maybe there's some Spider-Man influence. Anyway, if this looks exciting, well, don't wait long, because it's coming this month, December 12th.
And then on December 13th, we're getting a remake of a PlayStation Portable game. This is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. So this tells, it's kind of like a prequel story to Final Fantasy VII. And while we never got the Final Fantasy VII remake from the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 and PC and everything, we are getting this. It's not a cloud version. Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII is in the game, but it's not like you can fully download this game to your system on December 13th. But in this game, you actually play as Zack, who is one of Cloud's kind of one of his friends from his youth. He works with him in like when he's in the military, when Cloud wants to become a soldier, and Cloud, from what I know, like looks up to Zack. So you kind of get to see this different side of Cloud before he actually becomes a soldier, and you get to learn about Sephiroth, and it looks like it's a hack and slash like Final Fantasy VII Remake was on PlayStation.
So how does this, is this like an expansion to Final Fantasy VII, just for people who don't really know where this game slots in?
So it never, like this story that is told, if you've played Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 1 or the remakes or like on Nintendo Switch or anything, you've never experienced this story. This story was made entirely for the PSP back in 2004 or something like that, maybe, and almost 20 years ago now. And so this is for the Nintendo audience out there. This is a brand new game, and I don't know for certain, but since it's a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, you could probably go into this having not played Final Fantasy VII as well. I think you'll get more from it if you've played those games. But and the other thing I like, though, that I kind of touched on earlier, is the fact that this is a full-on like native port for the Switch, and it's so cool that we're getting this. And you know, we haven't played it yet, so we don't know how it runs. But Nier Automata ran incredibly well on Switch, so maybe we actually will get the Final Fantasy VII remake someday on Switch.
That would be something.
It won't look as good as the PlayStation 4 and 5 versions, but maybe it'll actually happen.
The next day, though, is a game I'm really excited for. I've been looking out for this game for a long time. It's Lil Gator Game, coming out the 14th of December. So this game reminds me a lot of a little game called A Short Hike. I don't know if it's the art style, it probably is, but it just looks like almost a more zoomed in version of A Short Hike. Even the premise is a bit simple. You're this little character, in this instance, you're a little gator, that runs around and is just having fun. So in this game, it's an open world, movement-focused adventure. You are a kid, well, a little gator, and you play with your imagination. He gets on a little Zelda hat and goes around with his sword and finds adventure just like when you were a kid. I mean, even Shigeru Miyamoto, when he first made Zelda, that was because he liked exploring stuff as a kid and he wanted to make a game out of that. And this just looks to be that experience. This is just Shigeru Miyamoto as a gator.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I see what you mean. Like, you can climb all sorts of things. Like watching this video, if I was this gator's parent, I would be so upset with the decisions that they're making. At least there is one point where they're like walking along like an electricity pole or wire or something. But you're right. Like you can skateboard, you can ride a pot lid like down a hill, you can shoot water guns at your friends, you can swing on swings. You're right though. It looks like this game was just built to just roam around the world and have fun.
It just looks like the perfect game for me. I mean, the little gator also has a bigger sibling, and they are, they've grown up, they're old, they need to finish this report, and the little gator just wants to play with the sibling. And I just find it really, the concept is just really fascinating. It's something all of us, we miss when we were children. Not all of us, most of us miss when we were children. There's this nostalgia that pops up of playing around, and I just think that with this game, I can feel that.
Yeah, it's kind of like it reminds me a bit of Goat Simulator in the fact that like you're just thrown into this world and you can do ridiculous things, but the chaos that you're causing is not really troublesome. You're just playing as a little kid disguised as a gator, just doing silly stuff that, might make your parent upset, but you're not actually causing any harm to anything. You're just exploring the world. It looks really cool.
I hope it plays similar to A Short Hike. I mean, like you can meet NPCs, they have a little bit of dialogue, you can just go around, there's small mini games and stuff, and then there's maybe a red thread to like tie it all together. Like,
sure.
I hope it's not too open. I hope there's actually a little story. It looks like that from one of the trailers I saw.
Well, if people are excited for this one too, let us know, and maybe we'll be able to cover it in a larger capacity on the channel too.
And now we have a game without a release date, but I know it's a game a lot of people are really excited about. Right, Sion?
I think so. No release date scares me, but I don't think they would just give us this time frame without believing in it, right? But it's Sports Story. Sports Story is supposed to be coming out December of 2022. And at the time of this video, it's December now, so we should have this game any day.
I mean, the indie world was in November, so I don't think they would give that close of a time frame without having like the game ready. There was a similar instance with Shinshan coming to, like Shinshan My Summer Vacation coming
You're right.
to the West. I made the list video and it still didn't have a release date. I knew it was coming out that month and they were rest assured that the game would come out, but we didn't know, so I just slotted it in at the end, and that's exactly what we're doing with this game. So I haven't gotten around to beat Golf Story yet. I've had so great things about it, and that's why I'm also excited for this one, because then I know when I finish Golf Story, then I have Sports Story, and Sports Story looks to take what everything Golf Story made good and adds so much more.
Yeah, this game, so Golf Story came out back in 2017 on the Switch, which is crazy to believe it's really been that long, but it's this like top-down game where you just kind of roam around this like 2D world and you golf, but then you also make friends and you get into weird situations, and you might spend a half an hour doing like this weird side quest that has nothing to do with golf at all, and that those parts of the game were, like, the golfing was a lot of fun, but those elements where you're just finding other things to do was so interesting and silly, and that's what kept me playing, and I think a lot of other players too. And you're right, Sports Story has probably been it was announced in 2019, but it's probably been in development since Golf Story was done. And they're adding all sorts of new crazy sports to this. Like golf, of course, is back, but we're gonna have tennis, soccer, fishing, football, mini golf, volleyball, cricket. I think there's disc golf as well, but I can't remember, and I forgot to write that down. So please let me know if I'm wrong. There's like dungeons that you can go explore. This is just such a weird mashup. It's like, I think there's that term, like they took everything in the kitchen sink and they threw it into the game. I think that explains Sports Story to a T. So I mean, if you played Golf Story, or if you've played the like Golf Story was really inspired by like the Mario Golf and the Mario Tennis games from like Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. By Camelot, the Golden Sun developers. If you liked those kinds of games, Sports Story looks like it'll make you happy too. It just looks so weird, and we just don't get games with like this much ambition all the time.
I love myself a really good, like sometimes the best games are indie games.
Yeah, for real. And it's cool that the developers have like kind of stayed quiet for so long and just worked on the game. I know it's probably been hard for a lot of fans to like sit back and be like, when's Sports Story coming out, but now we have a time frame, and we'll update this video in the description or something and let you know when the date's fully there. But December 2022, Sports Story, it's gonna be here.
And that was the exciting games coming here December 2022.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Like you and I said before, Felix, traditionally Decembers always feel like the time frame where we get a couple cool things, but there are so many games to focus on this month that if the Switch is not stopping. It's pretty wild.
But anyway, wow. But anyway,
there's a little gator in your throat.
But anyway, if you like this video and want to see more lists coming in the following months, why don't you sit down with a good friend, chat a bit, and then both hit that subscribe button. 2 people are sometimes better than 1.
And of course, let us know in the comments down below too, what game from this list you're most excited for, or if there's something that you're maybe not upset with us for not covering, but use the comment section as an opportunity to tell other people what games you think they should be looking forward to this month.
Stay safe, play some video games here in December, and we'll see you in the next one. Felix
and Xeon
from Nintendo Live, out.
I'm gonna fill you in on a little secret here. Felix Sanchez is a little gator. Did you know that?
I've actually just been sick, so that's why my voice, if you sat through the video and thought, hey, why is Felix's voice so deep? He almost sounds like John. Well, that's because, yeah, I've been sick. John is actually sick all the time. That's his big secret.
Yeah, I heard you were actually doing vocal training, actually. That's what I heard.
To sound like John.
Yeah, Felix is enhancing his voice right now.
John, look out. I'm coming for your voice.